sort of out, we'll start with it. How long do you eat team sheets? A few minutes? 5 minutes to get team sheets?
Not even 5 minutes. Not even 5 minutes. I'd say at least 3 minutes, tops. Just before they come out, you can easily get away with talking about it, so. Have we got a round for this? Is that like round 5? First round.
Yeah, next ones are actually quarters.
Right, it works like Junior League. Right, okay.
So, for how many? 3 games? 2 games?
That was all I played.
3 games.
3 games till the final. Nice one. Okay. I ain't got any dodgy names like Casted last week. They had some real names that were just like, oh, how do you say that?
Memorise the team sheet.
Oh, that's what I'm doing. That's all I see them as. They're on number 1.
Charlotte's taking every position.
I mean, there's that many of them that look the same. Like there's Charlotte, Danica, Rhiannon, all look the same.
Charlotte passes to Charlotte. same build, blonde hair.
It's, yeah. Same build as well. It's all the same. Have you got the ref team sheet there? Yeah. Sorry, I don't know your name. Say it again, Jamie. So, just now I've got it, Jamie. Right, I'm just going to quick. This is the referee one, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they're all the same.
So I'm just seeing if it's 13-13. If it's just 13-13, I assume.
Number confusion last week. That was lots of fun. If you just,
yes.
I'm going to go live and your audio's out, so if you...
Oh, sugar.
4 minutes off, you can fill 4 minutes, can't you?
Should be able to. So, we'll see.
We talked about last week about Leeds' performance and what have you.
Awesome.
Right.
Good afternoon, everyone that's tuning in on Facebook Live, the Wakefield Trinity Ladies Facebook Live. My name is Daniel Hawkhead, and I'll be commentating on today's game between the Leeds Rhinos women and the Wakefield Trinity Ladies in the Women's Challenge Cup first round. So kick-off not too far away here at Wheatwood Park. So I'll take you quickly through the two teams, starting with the Rhinos side this afternoon. So at fullback is Charlotte Booth. On the wings, Susie Hill and Caitlin Beavers, sponsored by Systec IT Solutions. And the centres will be Menina Spur and Sophie Robinson. The halfbacks for the Rhinos, still the same from last week's win against Castleford, Hannah Butcher and Courtney Hill. Into the forward pack, the props are Amy Johnson and Danielle Anderson, and the hooker is captain Lois Forsell, getting 2 tries in the win against Castleford last week. The front three are Amy Staveley, Larissa Deves and Shannon Lacey. On the bench for the Rhinos as the women come out is Beth Lockwood, Ellie Oldroyd, Madison Laverick, Frankie Townend, Sophie Nuttall and Rhiannon Marshall returning to the side after her injury again in the clash against St Helens. So for the Wakefield side, at fullback Amy Brinkley, on the wings Saskia Lewis and Danny Rose. The centres are Lisa Taylor and Michaela Reith. The halfbacks Rebecca Briley and Georgia Cutt. And the props are, and going into the forward pack, the props Georgia Catlin and Philippa Lockhart. The hooker Kelsey Armistead. Again the front three, Hannah Watt, Claire Renarder at the second row, and Danny Swain finishes the 13. On the bench, Nicole Austin Dyson, Maisie Rogers, Jessica Matthews, Natalie Gilmore, Laura Groves, Cody Tiziman and Kelly Hall. So that's the 2 sides for this afternoon's game. We're just getting ready for kick-off. It looks like Leeds are going to be kicking to the right-hand side, as you can see on the live stream. So it's good to have you with us. Hopefully you can keep us for the full 80 minutes as both sides look to progress to Wembley. Wakefield doing well at the moment in the Championship for those that have followed them. Obviously 4 wins from 4. Last week a 36-6 win against Lee Miners. Whilst the Rhinos, coming off the back of that loss to St Helens, won against league leaders Castleford in a thrilling game that most of you I hope viewed on our Facebook live stream. So Leeds fans also, good to see you if you're tuning in as well. Other Challenge Cup fixtures going on today. So you've got the York City Knights taking on the Widnes Vikings. Should be an interesting tie as we've just got kicked underway here. Hull Wyke versus the Army. Lee Miners against Wigan Warriors. Leeds obviously against Wakefield, which is here right now. Bradford against Castleford. Featherstone against Stanley. Barrow, Brighouse and St Helens Hull completes the other games that are happening today. So Wakefield are in possession of the ball, taking it just towards the 40-metre line. It's a good tackle from Leeds. That was Danny Swain there. So it comes out of dummy half. And it's a drop ball. It looks to Leeds are going to capitalise. It's Susie Hill dropping on the ball there. There's just quite weak hands there from Hannah Watt. Just dropping that ball, but it's a good cover tackle there from Georgia Cutt, making sure that Menina Spur goes no further. So Leeds are at the 30-metre line here, with Forsell getting hands on the ball. Now it's Courtney Hill, drops the ball back inside to Amy Johnson. Strong running from the props here of the Rhinos. Forsell again out of dummy half, short ball to Larissa Deves. But Wakefield, the Championship side, I would say underdogs, but as we know, the Challenge Cup can produce some real results, as we've seen in the quarterfinals at the moment. The men's game, there's a little kick through here from Hannah Butcher, is collected safely there by Danny Rose. It gets a good run on as well, just out of dummy half. And here goes Michaela Reith. Look for a bit of a penalty maybe. But Leeds push her back that little further. There's Shannon Lacey in there. Now out of dummy half. And it's a good tackle again from the home side. Playing here at Stanley. Bit of a different pitch to the Emerald Headingley Stadium that they played in last week. That was a real occasion as there's going to be a knock on here. And should be it must have been high contact. And so it's going to be a scrum to Wakefield. But it's good opening exchanges from the two sides. But Leeds are just looking that little bit on top with the more defensive work than their attacking play, as it's going to be Georgia Cutt to feed the scrum. And it comes out the back here to Amy Brinkley in the scrum hat this afternoon. But a good tackle by Sophie Robinson out on that left edge. And again, they push that a little further. Lisa Taylor taking the ball in this time. So on fourth tackle. And Hannah Watt taking that ball in to be on the 40-metre line. Fourth tackle here. Comes across the side. It's a little juggle there from Jordan Catlin. Looked to get a bit of a quick play on, but Leeds pushing up in defence, and they're straight there, the Rhinos, showing that why they are one of the best sides in the Women's Super League. Coached obviously by Adam Cuthbertson down on the touchline. Knows all about Challenge Cup glory. But the kick here from Rebecca Briley, captain in the side, comes down towards Charlotte Booth, and Leeds will look to attack again. Coming down this left-hand side. Brushes away from the challenge of Saskia Lewis, and it's good contact from the Wakefield team to bring it down. Susie Hill breaks the challenge of Lisa Taylor, of Georgia Cup, but gets put down there. Danielle Anderson, my player of the match last week. For those that listened, really influential at getting the Rhinos the field position they needed against Castleford. And this player, Sophie Robinson, getting a double for herself last week. Forsell dummies the ball twice, then gives it to Courtney Hill, and it's a quick break here for Charlotte Booth. Gives it out wide to Susie Hill. Drops back on the inside, but the cover tackle is there from Michaela Reith and co. Menina Spur inside to Lois. Forsell, captain in the side again. Really been influential coming back from that injury against Featherstone. And that'll be fifth tackle, so it's going to be a turnover here for the Wildcats. Sorry, for Trinity. Wildcats is the old side. Forgive me. Play the ball here. Comes to Amy Brinkley. Leads his defence straight up to make sure that they're not, to keep their opponents within that 20-metre try zone. Now it's Armistead, pushes it out wide to Nicole Austin Dyson. That's going to be a correct name to pronounce throughout this game. And they're just going left here, so looking for that quick pass. Just to release the winger there was Lisa Taylor, but not really getting that ball away. Coming back inside Saskia Lewis now. And that's with fifth tackle, so it's good defence here from the Rhinos to restrict their opposition. Still 0-0. And Caitlin Beavers is just going to let that roll into touch. So it's going to be a scrum, I believe, here to the Rhinos. So we'll just wait for them to form the scrum. Interesting choice. I didn't choose to come back and run that ball back, rather let it go into touch. So you got some creative play there from Wakefield, looking to get them the territory they need. Because it is going to be difficult. As I've said, Leeds' defence been one of the things that they've prided themselves on this year. So it is going to be difficult for them to get the territory, but this is a great position to have them in. 20 metres from Leeds' own line. As Forsell feeds the ball to Amy Johnson, but they're going to be pulled back here by the referee, who's Neil Pascal this afternoon. Well, we'll have another go. It's Amy Johnson again. It's good contact to put her down 40 metres out. Forsell out of dummy half, looking to get away, but it's a good tackle there from Georgia Cook. It's a really good tackle from the half-back. And now it's Menina Spur. Close to this touchline, possibly should be looking to put her into touch. Should Hannah Watt and Saskia Lewis. Looks to have just got a bit of an injury in that one, in that tackle, but it's really good defence here from Trinity. Forsell off to Danielle Anderson. Runs laterally, then straightens up towards Danny Swain. He's going to be fifth tackle again. It's a real tussle at the moment. No one getting close to either try zone. It's going to bounce just for Danny Rose. Just reclaims, runs it straight back into Courtney Hill. So we've got a deer just to our right-hand side going straight across the park. How very fortunate for this afternoon's game. Straight off dummy half here is Kelsey Armistead. So they're going to need to go for those quick plays at Wakefield. Just push themselves into the Rhinos half. It's all about patience though, as Hannah Watt make sure that they get the ball to their own 40-metre line. Only fourth tackle here. Comes down to Austin Dyson. Out the side, it's a little fumble there from Michaela Reith, but the referee's going to wave play on. And Saskia Lewis is tackled 30 metres from her own try line. Fifth tackle here. Ball comes back for Briley, who gets a kick away. And it just takes a touch there off Georgia Cutt. And that's going to be head and feed here to Wakefield. So I'm going to welcome onto the mic Joanne Phillips, yes?
Joe Phillips.
Joe Phillips. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
So we've got opening, not that much in the opening exchanges at the moment, still 0-0. But Wakefield looking really good at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, this has been a test, a massive test for Wakefield, but so far they're holding their own. And, you know, one thing Wakefield are notorious for is being able to rise to a challenge. They've got some very formidable players, and obviously with the introduction of Nat Gilmore, who's their ambassador, the women's ambassador for the team, you know, it's a massive addition to the squad, and I think they're going to surprise a few people here today.
Well, it's a Challenge Cup, so it is, as we say, notorious for upsets. So hopefully Wakefield can capitalise. They're close to the Rhinos line here. It's Rebecca Briley, the captain. So Natalie Gilmore on the bench, so we should be seeing her in the coming minutes. Big pass out wide from Georgia Cutt, looking for Saskia Lewis, and she does really well to stay in touch there. Does the winger. So stay in the field of play, not stay in touch. And Armistead out of the half. A little kick forward by Austin Dyson, and Booth is forced just to put that ball over the dead ball, over the touch line. And so it'll be a dropout for the Rhinos, but really good pressure there from Wakey.
Yeah, I mean, offensively going forward there was a really good set for attacking set for Wakefield. Looking, you know, they've got some real depth in their squad, and you know, with likes of Georgia. You've also got the experience of their captain Rebecca Briley, a very seasoned player, and you know the formation structure at the moment is quite exciting.
So that's forgive me. Number 14 is Natalie Gilmore, so she's on the field at the moment, and the drop out there is just fumbled by Michaela Reith. So it's going to be head and feed to Leeds. A really good kick out, a really good drop out from their point of view. So the pressure that Wakefield were turning there just dissipates for the moment. It's still 0-0. As the ball is fed here, and it's Amy Johnson who just fumbles that ball. So as I said, just momentary as Wakefield get the ball back. Really good pressure from them.
Yeah, and these are the opportunities that Wakefield really need to capitalise on, these errors. And, you know, this could be the difference between, you know, winning and losing this fixture is who makes the most of these opportunities such as now.
Well, they're definitely pushing the Rhinos back, as I say, coming from playing at a big stadium last week, the Rhinos, and now down in here in Wheatwood. So do come down if you fancy a quick, if you want to watch a good game of rugby, as Gilmore pushes close to the line here. Could this be the moment that Wakefield strike? Plays the ball to Michaela Reith, who goes out of dummy half, looking to push her way through, and it's going to be a penalty, I think, for crossing. So good work there from the Trinity.
Yeah, again, they're really applying the pressure to Leeds, and this is what they really need to do, is set that benchmark now and show their opponents that, you know, they respect them, but they're not afraid of them. You know, and this is some really good period of play from Wakefield.
It is, and the longer they can hold it, I think the better, or the more beneficiary it will be for them. As coming out of dummy half, it comes to Hannah Watts, pushing it back in field, just to the left of the uprights. Now it's Armistead going right to Georgia Cutt. They're so close now, just 5 metres out, and it's going to be a knock-on. Not really what they wanted there. And so the Leeds are going to get the ball back from a scrum. Really poor there from Trinity, I've got to say.
Yeah, a bit of ill discipline there, and these are again errors that we can't afford to be making it against a calibre of team like Leeds. We need to really work on reducing these. But so far, I mean, you've got to be impressed with how Wakefield have performed so far. They've came here, you know, they're a Championship side, compete against a formidable Super League side, and I think that at the minute they're not only holding their own, I would say they're dominating play.
They're definitely holding themselves high at the moment, I've got to say. It is really impressive. As I say, 4 from 4, though, you're definitely riding on a lot of confidence at the moment, Wakefield. As Sophie Robinson looks to just dart laterally across the field. And finally, they just begin to push them back to the Wakefield side. And he's going to give a penalty here, is the referee. Bit of a controversial one, I've got to say. Rhiannon Marshall making her first appearance since getting that ankle injury against St Helens. As Hannah Butcher looks for the touchline and gets the Rhinos up to about the 30-metre zone here. So Forsell bringing it forward. In line with it, obviously no touch judges, it being a Challenge Cup game, and Amy Staveley straight up in the face of those Wakefield defenders. They do a good job to just hold her where she is at the moment.
It's really good to see Wakefield defending in numbers, and again, it's key. We're going to be really instrumental in you know, containing Leeds and subduing them. Is making sure that we push them back and we do tackle in numbers. We go in and we go hard and make sure we secure that ball. And so far, you know, that's exactly what we're doing. We're giving them nothing.
It's proving the worst of Leeds at the moment, as they do turn the ball over. It's going to be Wakefield's ball from the scrum here from that knock-on. Just trying to play the pass out wide, maybe a bit too early. And Wakefield, as you say, catching them in defence with that. So we're going to get the play of the ball. And it comes out here to Amy Brinkley. Cuts back on the inside. It's a good tackle, though, from Marshall and Anderson. In on her there. Now it's Armistead. Out of the back to Michaela Reith. Just went close a minute ago. Building here are Wakefield. Armistead. Out the back to Briley, the captain. Drops it back inside to Catlin. They're just edging that bit closer here, Wakefield, forcing the pressure. Armistead again to Briley, then on to Cut, who's tackled there for the third. That's Gilmore, drops it back inside. It looks like it's going to be a try here. Oh, it's well held up. Amy Brinkley looked for all money to have scored there for me. As they go again, and Gilmore comes over the top. It's well reclaimed by Beavers, who's going to get the 20-metre tap, but so close there from Wakefield. Yeah,
and I mean, that was a fantastic piece of play by Wakefield, and they're looking fearless going forward, and offensively, they're looking really strong. Amy Brinkley is 16 years of age and such a prodigious talent, a real player to watch for the future. And I think, you know, Wakefield have got ambitions to go into the Super League next season, and, you know, so far in this performance, they certainly won't look out of place.
Well, she's not standing out, is she? As you say, 16 years of age, not standing out against the calibre of this Rhinos team, and obviously the age somewhat is quite astounding. As Staveley takes that ball in. So Leeds really turning the tables there at the moment, as Butcher gives it out wide to Robinson, running a good line. But it's brought down by that left-hand side defence. It's going to be fifth tackle, so you can look for the kick, I think. Forsell gives a little grubber kick and chases through. And it bounces back in. It's going to be a knock-on, though, from Booth. So when it looked like that Leeds possibly had the opening, good defence again from Wakefield, just forcing that error.
Yeah, you know, he applied the pressure, the structure and discipline was good. They defended as a unit, you know, but seeing Leeds there in that set, this is what, you know, they show the danger going forward. But, you know, credit to Wakefield there, we defended, you know, really strongly as a unit. But, you know, it's just glimpses of the Leeds that we recognise and what we've seen over the period of the season. And we just have to, you know, continue to apply this pressure, tackle in numbers, and I think that we can contain them and subdue them.
Well, they'll look to build from their own goal line here, as you say. Amy Brinkley making the first tackle, getting only a couple of metres, 10 metres out here. And now out of dummy half is Reith. But again, they're just going to take those single-man drives, I think, Wakefield, just to push themselves up the field. And it's going to be Saskia Lewis now, looking to stay in the field of play, and does. Really close to that touch line. Now it's Armistead back inside to Lewis. But Leeds' defence again standing strong in the face of this wave of attack. And a little drop off from Gilmore there to Catlin, and makes a very good post contact meters, getting to within their own 40-metre line. Now it's Gilmore kicking towards Beavers. It's going to be allowed to bounce, but then straight in the hands of the winger. Looking to get a breakaway. So I'd say it's a good end to the attacking play there from Wakefield.
Yeah, I think that we're starting to see a little bit more evenly match game now. Leeds are starting to obtain lots more possession and really gain territory. Wakefield just have to ensure that we continue to apply that pressure and make sure that we can force these errors and really capitalise on them. But so far as a neutral, what a fantastic game of rugby league we're observing here.
It is indeed. We're going to have a quick break in play. That left hand side, I'm not sure who it is. Oh, it's Georgia Cut, I'm being told by our brilliant cameraman Jamie. Good work today, my friend.
Yeah, hoping Georgia's all right. I mean, she's another player. She's been an integral part of Wakefield's setup this season. She's a very experienced player, very, very talented player, and somebody that I look at and think that she could potentially have ambitions for England. So hoping that she's okay.
So 7 tries for this season. So you say definitely one of the most influential players, and in a very influential role at halfback. It's one of the best, or one of the better places to make things happen, and she's up and walking off, I think, here. So we're going to get a substitution. So I believe this is Austin Dyson that's going to come on for her. Got star-studded overseers as well, just to our left-hand side. Stevie Ward, Alan Anthony Mullally and Barry McDermott.
It's really good to see these guys down and coming to support these types of games. And I think that we're in an era at the minute where women's rugby league is really attracting a lot of media attention and really engaging people's interest. And these types of games are fantastic advertisements.
There's a knock on there from Amy Staveley. It's given away. And it looks to be another injury here. So the ball just popped out there, and it just took a hit there from Hannah Butcher. And Staveley again.
Yeah, it's the captain, Rebecca Braley. She's another instrumental player in Wakefield unit. She's such a strong leader and very vocal. Really kind of increases morale in the team. Very strong player, and glad to see her back on her feet.
Well, we never like to see players going off in any form of rugby league, whether it be the women's game, the men's game, or for those that did tune into the Rhinos last week, the PDRL as well, which is growing ever so shortly. As Catlin takes the ball in here, it's a really strong drive from the prop forward. Armistead out of dummy half, gives it on to Danny Swain. Wakefield looking to just turn the screw a little bit, gets the offload away as well. It's well reclaimed there from Catlin, who gets the ball away then to Briley, but puts the ball down. It looks a bit promising. It looks promising the way they're throwing the ball around though, Wakefield. They're not kind of taking those one-man drives further away from their own line. They're definitely trying to look to throw the ball out wide. Yeah,
they're trying to play with a little bit of expansion and depth and a bit of cohesiveness, and I think it's really working for them. And there's a bit of a temptation in fixtures like this where you're up against such formidable opponents to play it safe, and it's really nice to see Wakefield aren't doing that.
As Charlotte Booth goes around the tackle of one and is running down the touchline here, and Brinkley tries to put the challenge in. It's going to be the first try of the game here for Charlotte Booth, who touches down in the try area, and as all that pressure from Wakefield from the scrum just goes that bit of waste, and it's unfortunate that Booth can get in there because they had it covered. Yeah,
unlucky that. It's just one of those breaks, isn't it? And unfortunately they weren't able to prevent it going through there. But again, I think it's a little bit against the run of play. I think Wakefield have been unlucky there, and I think now we need to regroup, refocus, and ensure that we can hit back quite early on.
Well, they've proved so far, haven't they, that they're playing with a lot of strength. They're not bowing down to the Super League. I'd say Super League giants at this rate, at this moment in time. They're definitely standing their own, as we've said throughout this game. Wakefield, they're definitely not looking down to the challenge, and just a little lapse in concentration there as Booth just went straight through down the touchline. Unlucky for Brinkley to just not get the solid contact she wanted.
Yeah, I mean, her endeavour was there, and you know that's what all you can ask for as a coach. But you know, with reference to Leeds, I mean, you know, obviously they're a very much talked about team this season. You know, for lots of reasons. They've established a very good squad. They've got that mixture of, you know, a lot of England representatives in there, and coached by obviously a professional Super League player. So in many respects, you know, they are kind of seen as the team to beat, and I think it would have been very easy for Wakefield for us to come here and be a little bit overawed by the occasion and by the team that we're you know, playing against. But you know, massive credit to Wakefield in the preparations for this game, because we're looking really sharp. Yeah,
they've really turned up for this one. Although we've had two little injury scares from Cut and Brierley. Brearley. It is looking really solid from Wakefield, and they shouldn't dishearten them at the moment.
They've got to be impressed with their performance, and I'm sure Wayne Hurst, the head coach, will be, you know, reiterating that to them, that, you know, the performance has been here, and not only that, you know, they're playing on parity here with Leeds, and I think that they've got to be very impressed and encouraged by this performance. You know, what we've got to ensure now is that we continue this momentum. You know, make sure that we don't have lapses in concentration, because Leeds will exploit that if we do.
As kickoff is underway again, Austin Dyson kicking the boot to ball down towards Forsell, who gives the ball back inside to Larissa Deves. Not many touches of the ball, the second rower, but gets that quick play of the ball, and Leeds looking to just bounce back again. And it's Amy Johnson looking to just get that bit of go forward. Quick play of the ball's necessary here. Danielle Anderson shrugs away from the challenge of one, but then goes straight into Michaela Reith.
You know, there again, you've got Wakefield tackling in numbers there and managing to contain Danielle Anderson, who's a very strong carrier of that ball.
And so is this player as well, Rhiannon Marshall. As I'd already missed last week's game against Castleford, but back for this one. And both teams looking to be at it as usual. And a kick from Courtney Hill is collected nicely there from Amy Brinkley. And they'll look to build here, Will Wakefield. And it's Danny Rose pushing up towards the Leeds line. Brinkley again. Not afraid to take that ball into contact, as we've said, 16.
She's
playing against some girls that are definitely bigger than her.
She's a real talent, and she's got that fearless aspect to her game, and she's a very competitive player. She wants to contest every ball. You know, she's such a strong addition to this Wakefield team, and at 16, you know, what a future she's got.
She has, as the ball's just given away there cheaply from Wakefield. And Leeds will look to go forward here. Anderson with a quick play of the ball. Out to Hannah Butcher. And she'll go herself. And the referee's going to give this one. So the Leeds, as quick as that, double their lead. It's Courtney. It is Courtney Hill. Yeah, it's Courtney Hill that touches down there for the Rhinos.
Leeds now are just kind of really starting to demonstrate, you know, what we know of them as a team. You know, they're a very fluid team. You know, they've got a lot of experience there with their hooker Lois Forsell, who's, you know, always instrumental and key in creating play. You know, you've got some Rhiannon Marshall there, another, you know, England international, and Leeds are now just starting to really kind of find their feet and find their flow. And Wakefield have to make sure now that, you know, we don't take this pressure off them. We continue the momentum that we found in the first period, and not allow Leeds to find their feet any further, because I think that the more confident that this Leeds team get, the more that we'll struggle against them.
Well, I think it was just the defence wasn't really set for that one. Obviously, with dropping the ball, they're all in attacking motion with Wakefield, and that quick change from defence to attack for the Rhinos just proved that a little bit too strong for Wakefield, and Hannah just being allowed to cut through the line there and score, so she'll be looking to convert her own kick. We've got about 15 minutes left in this game. For those that did tune into last week, my timing wasn't brilliant, but I'm being told from our cameraman we have about 15 minutes left on the clock as Butcher makes it 2 from 2, 100% kicking record this afternoon. Oh no, she said no. It looked to have gone over that for me.
Yeah, I thought it'd gone over.
So we won't complain at all. We'll go with the referee's call. So 10-0. It's only got to be better for Wakefield. Not as much of a mountain to climb, but could just do with getting on the score sheet at the moment, just to balance the tables a bit.
Yeah, and I think that they've got the potential and ability to get over that whitewash. I think that going into the second half, I think if we can contain Leeds at 10-0 now, it's all to play for. Second half is to be won, and I think if we can find us momentum, reduce these kind of moments of error, really reduce those errors, and I think that we can enter this second half confident. I'm sure that Wayne will be encouraging his players that the performance is there. There's a lot of positives to be drawn from the first half.
There is indeed, and I don't think he'll be too disheartened, will he, with the way they're playing out at the moment. Obviously 10 points down at the moment, but Leeds looking to just bounce forward, and it's Forsell again. And just breaking away forward and just showing how much class she has. That's
what she does, and she's a player that, she's a great ambassador for the women's game, but to play against, she's a real difficult player because her awareness, she's so astute, and her creativity and ingenuity in attack is it can rip teams apart, it can really decimate them.
And it's proving to do that at the moment as it's Hannah Butcher taking that ball forward, and Forsell again gives it short to Larissa Deeves, who puts that ball down. So it's going to be a turnover here for Wakefield Trinity. And out of dummy half goes Lisa Taylor. But Leeds, are there in defence to stop the tackle. Now off the wing, Danny Rose gives it inside. But Leeds' defence is there again, and that's with the difficulty for Wakefield in that Leeds' line speed is up to scratch from what Cuthbertson definitely coaches them in. As Swain plays the ball gently to Armistead, and it just goes out wide to Brinkley. A bit of a poor pass, but it is only Lacey just round the legs, not getting anywhere close. Armistead gives it out to Gilmore, who then throws it further outside to Saskia Lewis, and she's done really well to stay in touch as the winger at the moment. She's doing really well, because there have been opportunities where Leeds have looked to put her under that bit of pressure, and Gilmore gets a kick away.
Great kick.
Over there is a really good kick over the head of Beth Lockwood, and it's just allowed to go the wrong side of the post. You can see what she was looking for.
Yeah, and that's her experience there. It didn't kind of come off on this occasion, but having somebody of Nat's character and calibre on the team is huge for Wakefield. And I think although Leeds are looking very clinical at the minute, their execution's a lot better than ours, currently, and they're looking like a Super League side. But then, all credit to us as a team. I don't think we've looked out of our depth.
No.
I think that the problem we're finding right now is that we're just making a few too many errors, and Leeds are really punishing us for them.
And it's those little offloads like that from Butcher again, who gets it to Robinson, trying to find a gap in the defence by going laterally, but Gilmore, and they've really packed in there. There's 4 or 5 tacklers originally gone for that one.
She's a dangerous player, Sophie Robertson, and again another young player, but she really attracts and engages the opposition defenders, and she's so clever at that, because you've got to be careful that she does that. She draws you in, and then she gets that little offload away, and I think that Wakefield have done the homework and are well aware of that.
Oh, as Forsell's going to just grubbers it over the top, and Brinkley doesn't reclaim early enough. And Forsell chase her own kick and touch down just to the right of those posts. And it's just not what Wakefield want, because they're now mounting on the pressure, which you'd expect from the Rhinos side, but you'd expect Amy to maybe get that ball.
A bit disappointing there. I mean, I'm not going to criticise too much. She's a young kid, and
yes,
she's had a great game thus far. But I mean, it's these moments that we can't afford to take our eye off the ball and loses focus and concentration, because, you know, as Lois has just shown there, you know, that they will capitalise on that and they will exploit those moments of lapse in concentration from us.
They will, and as we said, they really built the pressure they did, the Rhinos, really strong breaks upfield, and just then that little chip and chase, it just bounced perfectly there for Forsell, which, as we say, she is one of the most, if not the most dangerous player on that Leeds team. And so you'd expect that from her, really.
A vision, you know, and that's a thing that makes her such a formidable player, is that she's just got that awareness, and, you know, and she was lucky with bounce there, you know, but to take nothing away from her, she spotted an opportunity and she capitalised on it. I just hope now that Wakefield, you know, we you know, keep us heads high. You know, we go into this second half, you know, and just kind of focus on the positives. I think what we need to focus on, really, from my perspective, is reducing these errors, you know, and making sure that we stay, you know, focused and switched on at all times, because, you know, you give Leeds one moment and, you know, like we've already seen, that, you know, they'll exploit us for that.
Yeah, keeping true to the basics is maybe one of the greatest things of rugby league and one of the biggest assets to being able to do. And, you know, keeping hold of the ball, completing a set well is one of the best things that you can do as a rugby league player if things aren't going your way, like they are for Wakefield at the moment. Even though they have had some real luck, especially early on in this game, it's just going back to those basics, and as you say, keeping hold of the ball rather than giving it away.
Yeah, and your set completion rates are of paramount importance, and, you know, I think that's what we need to probably look to improve, is keeping hold of that ball. You know, possession and territory and field position are going to be vital.
As the ball just bounces a bit awkwardly there for Beth Lockwood, and she's getting away from that tackle at Brinkley. Looking to get in the face of the Leeds substitute, as Danielle Anderson said, makes a clean break as well, but she does plenty of metres and plenty of minutes, does Anderson. Doesn't really hold up for any second. As then it comes out from Frankie Townend, gives it on to Hannah Butcher. Quick break here, and Sophie Robinson is in the clear. There's no one in front of her, and she's just going to get around the outside of Saskia Lewis and will touch down under the sticks. And as we said, things are just going from bad to worse here for Wakefield.
Yeah, it's you know, it's disappointing, you know, and I really feel for the women out there, because, you know, the start of the half, really dynamic, looking energised. They're looking a little bit despondent now, a little bit discouraged, which, you know, I think we need half time to come and to come quite quickly, so we can just get in there. You know, coach can really inspire them, motivate them, and we can just take a breather and come back out and refocus. But it's Leeds, you know, you've got to give credit to Leeds as well, because this is why, you know, the team that they are, and strong title contenders, really, and are going to challenge for a lot of silverware, because they are clinical. You know, they are absolutely clinical, and, you know, they, as a unit, they look so disciplined and so structured, and I think, you know, their game management is spot on, and I think that, you know, credit to them, they're coming out and displaying what they are actually capable of. And I think, you know, maybe it's the start of the half a little bit shaky, but they've found the momentum now, and I think that, you know, Wakey are struggling a little bit to contend with that.
Well, I think we're still yet to see the greatest bit of Wakefield. I think, as you said, the half-time whistle is needed from them, but there's so much more still to come, I believe, from Wakefield. We've got about 6 minutes on the clock as Butcher as Courtney Hill slots the conversion, but I believe there is so much more still to come from this Wakefield side, you know, because they are building a lot of pressure really nicely, and it's just over the last couple of sets, it's just broken down a bit for them, and they're paying the price a little bit.
Yeah, and I think, you know, we've just got to calm things down a little bit, settle things down, and not allow ourselves to be too discouraged, because, you know, they've demonstrated massively what they're capable of, and I think there's going to be more of this to come in the second half. I just think that we need that time where we need to get on the score sheet, you know, fundamentally, and I think that'll be a massive morale lift to this team. But, you know, Wakefield should be proud, very, very proud of their efforts so far.
They should in this first half. Especially, as we said, the first 20-25 minutes, they were really putting Leeds under some good pressure and nearly got that first try of the game as a Townend maybe knocks that ball on, but the referee's going to shout play on. It's going to be Sharon Lacey. Just bring that ball away, and it's good tackling from the defence straight up in the face, and I guess that's one thing that we can say has been one of the greatest assets for Wakefield so far in this game is their defence, and something they've prided themselves on so far is that they're really getting up in the faces of the Rhinos girls.
Yeah, they've had a strong defensive performance, and I think that's going to be key. Very, very instrumental in the second half, is because if you get up in your opponent's face, you apply that pressure, you can force them errors, and once you force those errors, you can look to capitalise on that. And I think that's what we need to do, is continue to apply that pressure, and defensively stay very tight as a unit, move off his defensive line quickly, and try to challenge Leeds and force that error.
Well, as Beavers got a good bit of room there, and Forsell just gives that ball inside to Amy Staveley. Just getting shot at that 13th line. It's going to be a knock on, so we're going to see a bit of turnover. Wakefield now are finally going to get their hands on the ball, which is definitely what they needed. They definitely needed some sort of some sort of time with the ball in their hands rather than tackling, because it takes a lot out of you, does the tackling.
Yeah, it fatigues you massively, and I think then once you're fatigued, obviously that's when you can start to have errors yourself. I think that possession and field position are going to be paramount in the next few minutes of this game, and I just hope that we can kind of get out of his own 20 and 30 here and really kind of get ourselves some good field position and look to enter the second half on the score sheet.
Well, I think it's definitely going to, I have a feeling it's going to come from those half-backs or Nat Gilmore, because they seem to be the ones that are making a lot of the way forward at the moment, but nothing against Michaela Reith, who does make a great little drive just towards the 40-metre line. It comes out from Kelly Hall. Now it's on to Amy Brinkley, coming in to get a bit of the action instead of rocking around the back of the play. Jumping in to make sure that she contributes. And it's going to be Hall again. Gives it off to Gilmore, and it's
good hands there.
Gives really good hands as Beavers is straight under the ball and running that ball back with intent and pressure. And she's going to make a clean break as well, is Caitlin Beaver. She's going to go all the way. There's no one back here from the Wildcats. No one's at home. As Caitlin Beaver scores the 4th try here for the Rhinos. Straight under the sticks. And it all looks to have gone to pot maybe for Wakefield.
I mean, Caitlin Beavers, what a try that was. I mean, she's just done, I'd say 70, 80 metres there. She's a prodigious player, is Caitlin, and credit to Michaela Reith there. She's probably got quite a few years on Caitlin, but she chased that down. Feeling for Wakefield right now, because it's difficult when you've been competing for so long, and it's been quite an even keel, and then Leeds have really found the momentum, and it's so discouraging, and your heads go down a little bit. What I would hope that when we go into second half, Wayne Hurst, the head coach, will encourage them and just tell them to go out into the second half and just do what we did in the first half, which is strong defensive performance, but also offensively we put together some good plays, and I think that we just need to have a little bit more belief in ourselves and not be overawed by Leeds Rhinos here.
Well, we're just going to wait for Courtney Hill to slot the conversion. Maybe some substitutes are needed for Wakefield. Maybe that might be the call in bringing a couple of fresh pairs of legs on, and that's going to be half time here at Wheatwood Park. So Wakefield looking really strong in the opening 25 minutes, but Leeds just overcoming that bit of pressure, and now lead 28 points to 0 going into the half-time break. So we'll take a quick break, but we'll be back with you for the second half coverage very soon. Okay, welcome back to Weekwood Park for this Challenge Cup game between the Leeds Rhinos and the Wakefield Trinity women. It's currently 28-0, as the score should say at the bottom. Leeds just started a little bit, just not as sharp as we'd like to have seen, but Wakefield definitely taking advantage of that and really putting on a lot of early pressure. 20-25 minutes really pushed the Rhinos, but it was then when the Rhinos then broke away with Charlotte Booth scoring in the corner. Then we've had Courtney Hill. We've had Courtney Hill, Lois Forsell and Caitlin Beavers also scoring tries from the Rhinos, pushing up to 28-0. So we're going to kick off again, just beyond Forsell. So Leeds will get the ball back here. It's just allowed to bounce around, and Booth eventually gets her hands on the ball, pushes her way out wide.
I think as we discussed at half-time, Leeds, the access to strength and conditioning coaches and so forth that they have, these women are athletes, and I think that, Wakefield to sustain what they did in the first 25 minutes, it was always a difficult task. But, I'm hoping now that, with a little bit of a break in play, through half-time, we can come out and be a little bit energised and, have that dynamic element that we did in the first 25 minutes.
Well, definitely, as I've said, we've definitely not seen the best of Wakefield. They can definitely get better from here, and it looks to be that Lisa Taylor's just gone down injured here. Yeah, looks like a shoulder. There's
a lot of ability within this Wakefield team. Obviously Georgia Cutt's been reintroduced back onto the field of play. It's also worth mentioning that Wakefield are missing another kind of key player for them in Yasmin Copeland, who's been really influential for the team this season. And I think that again the missing a couple of prop forwards, and I think that you've got to give credit to them, and I think that we just need to have that self-belief and not be. This is quite a big occasion, there's quite a big attendance. I think that it's probably the first time the Wakefield girls have played in front of such a capacity kind of crowd for us, and the occasion itself, it's Challenge Cup, it's for a lot of these girls it's their first experience of this, and I think that we just need to have that belief in ourselves and know that for that first 25 minutes we matched Leeds, we looked strong, we looked like a unit, we defended well, our attacking players were well structured and well constructed, and I just think we just need to regain that now, and I'm hoping in the second half we enter it the way that we started the first half.
Well, it's good to see that Lisa Taylor's got back up. As we said, Wakefield could just do again on the score sheet. That's the only thing that we think could really spark something here as Leeds go down that right hand side. It's going to be a pass out wide from Lockwood. And it's a knock on, so Wakefield are going to get the ball back here, which is all positive in the start of the second half.
Yeah, I think that if we score again, it's a massive lift, and again it just reignites the team, and I think that with Georgia Cutt being back on at 7, she's a player that really has that kind of ferocity in everything she does. Another player, a bit like Amy Brinkley, she contests everything, with aggression. She's very vocal. She's got great awareness, and I think that having her back, will be key to this second half.
Well, it's a good first drive there from Reith, coming in from the centres, and that comes out wide to Claire Reynard. So I had to double check if I pronounced that right then, as it's Armistead out to half. Passes the ball off to Jordan Catlin.
She deserves a mention, does Jordan. I mean,
she does.
Week in, week out, she performs consistently, and she makes so many metres with those big ball carries. She's a real impact player, and she's a young player herself, and I think for me, she's really impressed me, in a Wakefield shirt.
She is. When you look at, we've said how influential the Leeds forwards are. Coming up against someone like Jordan is almost, he's quite new, someone that can match him for strength and ability. Maybe not as much for the speed, but she's definitely pushing the Wakefield guys forward. And as we've spoken about Georgia Cutt so much, I think also, as you said, Jordan is worth a mention because she can be put in that sort of group of influential players for Wakefield.
Yeah, I mean she's an impact player. She's that player that can come on. She can make you meters, and at the end of the day, field position, like we've already discussed, is imperative. And I think that she's a player that can really get you that.
It's Daniel Anderson with a big drive for the Rhinos. It comes out now to Hannah Butcher. Looks to put the offload away, and it's going to be a knock-on from the Rhinos. Looking a bit too Frankie Townend there, putting the ball down, looking a bit too excited to have the ball. Yeah,
a bit over avaricious there. Really nice to see old Wakefield there, congratulating and giving Maisie Rogers a pat on the back. Really good camaraderie amongst the team, and that's really important when you're playing fixtures like this, and in rugby league in general, is to have that really strong bond within the team. And it's nice when you kind of celebrate those forced errors.
Well, it's one of the things that really shocked me. Obviously, it's my first season watching women's rugby league, and it's the camaraderie and team spirit that they do have in all the teams. Then, as we've said, just patting people on the back is something that goes a long way sometimes for these women, really pushing them forward to make the extra metre and put the body on the line for the team. It's called knock on, which I think it's a bit cruel that it did go backwards, but Leeds turning the ball over now, so Leeds will get the ball, head and feed from the scrum. Not really what we wanted from Wakefield, looking to build something.
Yeah,
just letting it collapse.
Seems to be the problem, is that we seem to make some progress and advance a little bit, and then we seem to get stifled, and we just need to stay positive and like you say, try to build some fluidity in his sets.
As here come the Rhinos now, it's Courtney Hill going out wide to Charlotte Booth, then on to Susie Hill. She gets caught on the wing and comes back in field. It's put down 10 metres from the try line here. And coming out dummy half, Charlotte Booth pushing away forward, trying to get through 1 and 2.
She's such a dynamic player.
She is, isn't she?
She's like dynamite, She's another player that's, in the Women's Super League has massively impressed me. As
Beth Lockwood just going short of the line there. So we play the ball to Danielle Anderson. Plays the ball then on to Hannah Butcher. Looking to play it out to Larissa Deeves. It's going to be back to one as a Wakefield touch in there. So they're going to build the pressure here of the Rhinos. It's Frankie Townend out of dummy half. Run straight at the defence.
This is difficult now for Wakefield to have to repeatedly defend another set. It's going to cause fatigue. And
there we see it as Rhiannon Marshall dots the ball down under the sticks. A big mismatch in terms of size there. She goes straight over the Wakefield defence, and Leeds get their 6th try of the afternoon.
Yeah, and my heart, these women mean an awful lot to me. I've coached them, I've played alongside some of them, and a lot of these women are my friends, and right now I'm feeling for them, because you feel so dejected at this point, really low in morale, and I just hope that they can stay positive, and we've got to kind of look at this now, and our ambition and focus has got to be containing Leeds as much as we can, but setting ourselves that challenge of that we're going to get off this score sheet, not allow ourselves to be too discouraged with this, and remind ourselves that we're still a team that are learning. We're a championship side, competing against a well-structured, well-crafted Leeds Rhinos side, and I think that we need to look at the positives from this performance and keep us heads held high, because from my opinion, I might be a bit biased, but we've got an awful lot to hold us heads high for.
Well, 4 wins out of 4 in the championship. 4 wins out of 4 is nothing short of an achievement in itself, and people say maybe that it's not as, looking at in the men's as well, the difference between the Super League and the Championship is quite big, but as we've seen today, there have been spells where both teams, and sometimes Wakefield, have definitely dominated the Rhinos, and that's what and as you say, that's what they need to remind themselves of, in that they are 4 out of 4, the top of the league, and are coming up against a well-drilled Leeds side, as you say, that's got maybe the better facilities, and obviously the coach in Adam Cuthbertson, who knows how to play.
And all these things are contributing factors, and I think that, you know, the one advantage that Leeds have will be how their sustainability. They'll be able to sustain this level of intensity for an awful lot longer than we can, you know. But again, all this will come in time. It's a learning process, and this is why, you know, Wakefield opted to stay in the Championship for this season, so that we could lay the foundations for next. You know, and in terms of a learning experience from this game, you know, it's a good experience for a lot of these players to play against England internationals, you know, and also get a kind of taste and of what it's going to be like for them competing in the Super League next season.
And it can definitely get better from Wakefield, as I've said already, as Marshall puts the step on and takes the ball straight to the line, and there's plenty of Wakefield defenders there to meet, about 5 I think in the tackle there, so numbering up, they still think they've got the energy. Forsell, short ball here to Deeves. But again, it's good tackling from Wakefield, restricting the Rhinos to 40 metres on tackle 3. Now it's Hannah Butcher. Gives a short ball to Sophie Robinson, who's just going to have to hold that ball up there. Plenty of tacklers around her just to make sure that she can go nowhere.
You know, defensively, Wakefield are working really, really hard, and you know, you can tell there's a few tired legs out there now. But you know, you've got to really admire and respect the resilience. And
well, as it's going to be Beth Lockwood that races away, sort of cut you short there, Joe.
Yeah, we're displaying a lot of character, but again, you know, Leeds are just looking sharper, more clinical. And
Leeds have just got over in the corner. I think it's Susie Hill over on the far side. I think it is Susie Hill that's dotted the ball down. So Leeds are going to put up near the big 40 at the moment. Not what we wanted to see there, because it was looking defensively. It was looking so much better down here, wasn't it?
Yeah, good defensive set from Wakefield, and it's again, I can only kind of reiterate that, you know, I feel for them right now, because we've been in this position. You know, I've been in this position as a player and as a coach, and it's really difficult to, you know, to get your girls their heads held high, because you focus so much on the negative aspects and the fact that your opposition have scored, you know. But in actuality, what we need to do here is look at the massive positives from this. We always knew this was going to be a challenge. We always knew this was going to be a difficult game, you know. But we have, like you said, we've held us on in periods of the game, and I think we just need to now, you know, grind this out, keep going, keep enduring, and show our spirit and character.
Well, there's going to be 3 substitutes here for the Rhinos. Shannon Lacey, Madison Laverick and Sophie Nuttall making their appearances. It's worth saying that Madison Laverick, we've talked about Amy Brinkley on the other side, now being 16, playing in this age group. But Madison Laverick, 18, coming from a very successful under-19 side.
Yeah, and Leeds are really developing their under-19 side, and it's great, because, you know, there's a pathway for these under-19s into the women's team, and I think that it's great to see Leeds investing as much into the development of these young players as they are the women's team, because, you know, fundamentally they are going to be the future generation of players that we stand here and watch.
They are, and as the women's Super League grows, as it is at the moment, you know, it's gaining a lot of popularity. A lot of people are loving watching the games. I know you guys watching on Facebook Live are enjoying what you're seeing from Wakefield, from Leeds, wherever you're watching from. And it is growing in the terms of the sport. We've got the World Cup coming in 2021, where hopefully we'll see a lot of these Leeds girls, but hopefully some of those Wakefield girls can push in as well. You never know.
Yeah, and that's got to be the aspiration for them, you know. And there's players within the Wakefield team that, you know, in my personal consensus, you know, can really challenge for a position. You know, Leeds obviously have already got some England internationals within their squad, you know, and I think that we'll see a lot of these women currently, a lot of Leeds younger players in the 2021 World Cup. But, you know, it's certainly an aspiration that I think a few of the Wakefield players should really focus on.
As Rihanna Marshall makes big meters there, the short kick-off, maybe not the best of ideas from Wakefield. Charlotte Booth goes on a quick break here. She's going to get around the outside of Brinkley, but she gets a good challenge in, and she drops the ball. So that's a brilliant really tackle from the youngster.
Yeah, very good recovery tackle from Amy Brinkley. You know, again, force the error from that, and I just, you know, I hope now that Wakefield can really capitalise on this.
Well, it's the sort of player Charlotte Booth put her hand in the hair, but that's her hand in the air. But Leeds just showing us that they've still not turned off yet. But as we said, a really good defensive tackle there from Amy Brinkley. That'll do her confidence a lot of good.
Yeah, massively, because I'm sure, she'll probably be berating herself, for the try that was conceded in the first half, although, I really don't think that she should, but,
No.
a great recovery tackle. And, one thing this sport, requires is resilience, endurance, and the capacity and ability to keep going when, your back's up a little bit against the wall. And, one thing that we really need to kind of credit Wakefield with at the moment is the fact that they're not giving in. They're still giving it absolutely everything they got. And, I put some tweets out earlier on, and I said, one thing that you can guarantee from this Wakefield side, is heart and soul. And I think that, we've seen that in the second half and in the first half.
We've got about 15 minutes left on the clock. Oh no, we've got 25 left. We've only had the 2 tries as well, so there's a lot of confidence to come from Wakefield at the moment. The defence is looking like it's strengthened back up, as we've said.
Yeah, and it's been a very intense pace that it's been played at this game, and I think that for Wakefield to continue to defend the way that they have is a massive credit to the preparations that they've been doing.
And now they're getting a bit of attacking play as well. Georgia Cut, as we've said, back on the field from her injury, and now they're going to get a relieving penalty. Get her a bit of ground here. Good work from Lisa Taylor, making sure that winning her team the penalty. They're going to kick for touch as well. And nearly gets in the Rhinos dugout. Gets her a good 10 metres though. And here goes Wakefield. It's Danny Swain taking that ball and getting through the tackle
Great
of
drive,
one as well.
great
Really
drive.
good drive. Manages to get herself up. Armistead gives the ball on to Jordan Catlin, who again balls her way forward. They're on the halfway line, excuse me, here at Wakefield.
Good set so far by Wakefield here.
Armistead to Cut. Takes a knock from Brinkley, and it's intercepted here from Susie Hill. Just when Wakefield were looking to build something. A mismatched pass, just intercepted by Hill, who's run for 50 metres to score that try. That's so unlucky from Wakefield.
Really unlucky, but a quality interception from Leeds. And, it's sometimes it's one of those situations where you just get those lucky breaks, and great bit of awareness by the Leeds player there to intercept that ball, and she's really embraced that opportunity. Just looking at Wakefield now, and I just really hope they continue to encourage each other and we motivate each other, because like we've already said, and I'll keep saying it, we can't be any proud of the performance that they've put out against a colossal side in Women's Rugby League against the Rhinos.
Yeah, but it is just, as we say, they were just looking to build something. They had that little bit of attacking play, they had that bit of possession, and to have it taken away just like that is so cruel.
Yeah, it's heart-wrenching, but it's the nature of the sport, and I think now what we need to do is just keep his heads held high and just keep going. It's from now it's endurance, and the one thing that I hope is that we get on the score sheet.
Well, there looks to have been an injury. We're just seeing one of the Wakefield players just limping off down that far side. Not too sure who it is at the moment. As the conversion is slotted by Courtney Hill. It's Hannah Watt, I'm being told, is the player that's just making her way around. Yeah,
nobody likes to see that again. Hannah's a young player. I think she's 18 now, 17 or 18. But I really send my best wishes to Hannah. She's putting a
big effort, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's putting a tough performance today. And that's one thing these women, they've given it everything, and at the end of the day, when you walk off that pitch, if you know for that full 80 minutes you've given it everything you've got, as a coach you can't be disappointed in that. You can only feel a lot of pride in that. And looking at these players here, they've given it absolutely everything, and it's testament to Leeds ability and the calibre of team that they are. Let's be honest, they've got several England internationals on their side. They were never going to be an easy team to come up against.
Well, they're going to get the bounce of the ball though here at Wakefield. Maybe there is something looking lively here. Lisa Taylor reclaiming the ball. There's an awkward bounce there for Sophie Robinson. And the ball's then ripped by Beth Lockwood. Again, just so unlucky, but
it's little marginal gains, isn't it? It's those little 1%ers that can make a massive difference in the game. And Leeds are just their marginal gains. They're just really taking that 1% and maximising it.
Well, looking to go down the right wing here to Sophie Robinson. She went laterally, but now she's straightened up. There's plenty of defenders around her to put the centre down on the wrong side of the field. As out from dummy half goes Susie Hill. She's got 2 tries this afternoon. Is she going to get a third? Well, we will see. Big call down from Caitlin Beaver wanting the ball down this left-hand side. And now it's Beth Lockwood. And
you can see the communication, how vocal that Leeds are. And, again, speaking about Leeds, they've came here and, they've given, they've not kind of took this game, they've not been complacent, they've worked very, very hard, and often you find that teams come when they play a team that's maybe the underdog or, considered the lesser of the 2 teams. Leeds haven't done that, they've came and they've really recognised that knowledge that they need to work hard against this Wakefield Trinity squad.
They have, and from that knock-on that Leeds conceded just that minute ago, possession's turned over just like that. Really bad. It was just soft hands, wasn't it, there from Catlin, just putting that ball down. It's so unlucky.
Yeah, and again, we can't afford to make these errors.
You were just saying about the 1% as well, weren't you? Leeds having that.
Yeah, and they're the margins that you need to kind of capitalise on, and Leeds have done that, and Wakefield not so much. But again, it's been a learning process, and I think that we've got to look at this as a lesson to learn from.
As the grubber kick there is put through, we were talking about the big in goals that are here at Wheatwood, and that is number 7, so that's Courtney Hill, who uses advantage of the wide in goal to touch down. And it was clever that they decided to go for the grubber through instead. I think they're just going to try stuff out now. I mean, they could have gotten on the wing.
When you've got a wide area like that, that's the way to kind of look at it, is put those little grubber kicks in and
hope they hold up.
Yeah, and I think obviously Leeds again, their game management is spot on, and they understand and know the game so well, and that's probably a reflection of being coached by Adam Cuthbertson. But again, Wayne Hirsch should be incredibly proud of the progress that this Wakefield Trinity side have made. And again, as the season progresses and advances, there's lots to work on, obviously, but it's an exciting prospect for these ladies to play in the Women's Super League.
Yes.
And I think that there's still a lot of time to go before 2019 when they enter into that season. And I think Wakefield will surprise a lot of people. And I think that from this performance, it's a good way to kind of look where we really are, what work we need to kind of be doing in the future to prepare for entering an elite league.
Well, we're saying beforehand, before the game, Leeds obviously have got the overseas signing of Courtney Hill, and that's something that with the game growing, especially with it being as well in Australia, been really popular down there. A lot of women will want to come to Super League, and if Wakefield, as you say, they've taken that year out to build the foundations, building on that, there's nothing to say they won't get those sorts of signings coming through when they come into Super Leagues 2019. And
that's the thing, the Super League, it does attract a massive interest, because it's a great league to be involved in, and it's progressing all the time, and it's really growing in stature and interest, and I think there's major broadcasters are starting to switch onto it a little bit more, and I think that it would be great if we could attract players like that. I'm gonna really cross my fingers that they might ruin Sims, but it would be great to see Australian players come over and really invest into this game of ours.
Well, the Leeds players definitely are. Over to our left-hand side, there's Josh Walters, Brad Dwyer, and it looks to be Cameron Smith who made their way down as well. It's going to be a big contingent stuck down that left-hand side. So the Rhinos lads are definitely investing in this Rhinos ladies team.
That's fantastic to see.
It is indeed. As Ellie Oldroyd getting the first player, and it's going to be a break on here for Madison Laverick on her debut. But it's a good tackle again by Amy Brinkley down that far side. She's really made, you know, after that first error letting Forsell score that try, she's definitely sorted herself out, making some really good try-saving tackles.
Yeah, she's recovered from it, and I think that, you know, she's been instrumental in defensively. She's had such a solid game.
Well, Lockwood didn't expect that ball, but she's got away from the tackle of one. It was Rebecca Braley getting away from that one, and she's just to the right-hand side of those posts. Now at dummy half is Frankie Townend, looking to go herself again. But maybe try to fling the offload away, and does to Courtney Hill, and she just plays a little bit of run around as well. The ball gets thrown up in the air, and it's all a little bit messy from the Rhinos girls here, and they just decide to take that ball over the dead ball line, which is probably the best option from there.
Yeah, best option all round. I mean, I don't know how long's left to go here, but you know, I really want Wakefield to get over this try line, because, in all honesty, I don't think that the scoreline currently reflects the performance that Wakefield have put on here. And I'd really like them to take something from this game, you know, because it's been a very good performance by them. And I think that, you know, the Leeds Rhinos players will say that they've had to work for this, you know. There's been a couple of soft tries really, but, you know, in all honesty, it's not all gone Leeds' way in terms of, you know, defensively we've put on such a good performance.
Right, it's Amy Johnson coming from the field. We've got about 18 minutes to play, and Charlotte Booth just making her way forward here. Again, one of the bigger players for Rhinos. We'll be looking to get that England team come the end of the year, for including Lois Forsell, and definitely this person as well, Rihanna Marshall, gets away from the tackle of one. She's really pushing towards the line, but they do want to keep her upright in the tackle. It's a very hard lady to put down. And after we half is Frankie Townend. It goes wide to Beavers, who just misses that ball. And Wakefield are going to get a bit of finally going to get a bit of the ball. It's got to be a long time since they've had a touch.
Yeah, possession this half has really been dominated and owned by Leeds. And Rihanna Marshall there, you know, she's such a strong player, and she's a very difficult player to play against because of her physicality, and, you know, she's a very aggressive player in terms of how she kind of drives that ball forward. You know, but again, I think the second half is territory and possession-wise has been dominated by Leeds. But again, I think that Wakefield can hold their heads up high because we've been on the back foot. We've had to spend the majority of the game defending, you know, and you can see some tired legs out there now, but, you know, the resilience within this side is commendable. It
is indeed, as we're going to get the scrum from the feed from the scrum, and they're going to look to just come down this this left-hand side, closest to our commentary position. But as we've said all afternoon, it's been so difficult to break down that blue and amber wall. And the ball just is allowed to spill free, and Ellie Oldroyd takes advantage, and turnover again is coming to Leeds. We've got a little injury here for, I think it's Philippa Lockhart. I could be wrong.
I think the Wakefield women are looking a little bit fatigued now, and there's a few more errors creeping in here, and I think it's really hard and to be penetrating Leeds' wall at the minute. The defensive line is just so solid, so strong, which is a credit to them.
Well, at the moment at 52-0, gone to the scoreboard. It's looking like Leeds are going to be going into the quarterfinals. I know first round to quarterfinals is a big leap, but they're definitely going to have to be competing. They're definitely going to be in competition for this trophy, especially. Like the men, obviously getting during the quarterfinals against the Lee on Friday night. So both teams looking to get their way up there. So we're just going to wait for the injured player. We'll go with it being Lockhart at the moment, but I'm not 100% sure. She's getting to her feet. But it's going to be, it looks to be the knee, which is heavily bandaged already, so that's not going to be, it's not looking good, as you say, if they've got a lot of injuries already, Wakefield. It's not looking too good if she's going to have to go off with that sort of knee injury.
Yeah, they've struggled a little bit at the minute for injuries, but, you know, again, they've got a strong bench, they've got some really kind of capable players on there.
As Leeds are going to look to come left, and it's an offload from Booth to Robinson, just fumbled, and Hannah Butcher is forced to put the ball down. But Wakefield, as soon as they get the ball, are going to get the ball back, which is always good to see. They're going to make a double substitution as well. Looks like Cody Tiziman and Saskia Lewis are going to be coming on.
Cody Tiziman is a really impact player for Wakefield, and when she gets on the ball, she's another great strong ball carrier, and I hope that we can really utilise her as she's on the interchange here.
Just to confirm I was right, it was Philippa Lockhart that's had to go for that knee injury. But interestingly, they've brought Amy Brinkley from the field, which is a surprise. I'd quite like to see her carry out the full 80 minutes.
I think that may be something to do with her age. I do believe that maybe they're only allowed to play a certain percentage of time at the age of 16 in open age rugby league. So I would imagine that's Wayne Hurst's the reason why behind that. I think the RFL have enforced that I think you can only play 70 minutes of play as a 16-year-old, obviously, just to ensure player welfare.
I was saying, 'cause she has, well, as I say, not to make her stand out, but apart from that four-cell try, some of the try-saving tackles she's made in this half have been really commendable. As wide passes collected by Michaela Reith on that far side. But the Leeds defence stands strong in the face of the attack. And it's an end-on-end kick down towards Charlotte Booth. And she's going to look to bring it back towards the try line. Gets away from the tackle of Maisie Rogers. And then gets the ball away to Caitlin Beavers, who's got 2 or 3 players on her. 2 of the prop forwards as well. Just looking to make her way forward here. And it's Frankie Townend from dummy half. Gives it inside to the 18-year-old Madison Laverick. Making a debut, as I say.
Leeds are really hitting some great lines.
And Robinson again puts the ball to ground. Having a bit of a soft spell. Here's the centre. That's the second time she's put that ball down. Not something that Coach Cuthbertson would want to see. I think get this right, but definitely the positives for Wakefield.
Yeah, she's a great player, Sophie Robertson, but I think that, as soon as she gets the ball, I think Wakefield recognise that she's a danger player, and we're really applying the pressure to her, and I think that maybe we've just kind of caused her to have a few forced errors there.
Well, we reckon there's about 10 minutes, maybe just a bit more because we've had the injury. But Wakefield got to try and get themselves on the score sheet, and again the ball just put down there by Jessica Matthews. And it seems to be, it just seems to sort their afternoon, doesn't it? Starting off confident, but when it comes to the clinical points, it's just not been there.
His execution is and the amount of errors that we've made have cost us dearly. And I think that, again, a lot of that comes with fatigue. We had a very intense first 25 minutes, and I think that maybe is taking its toll on a lot of these players. But, I think, again, we can only say that they've put in a good performance here, and just really hoping we get a little bit of luck and get a lucky break here, which
they're going to get there.
Yeah.
They have there with that knock-on from Hannah Butcher. Charlotte Booth looked to get herself forward, looked in a really confident position. Came back on the inside to Courtney Hill, sorry. And the ball's just put down. And they're a bit further away from the try line this time, which is good to see. Wakefield, they're going to have some decent field position in which to build from here.
Yeah, and it's a real opportunity for us to capitalise on, and I think that, we've got nothing to lose here. The game's obviously escaped us and evaded us, but, I think now we've got to really go for it, throw everything that we've got into the remainder of this game, and I really hope that we can get off the score sheet.
So a try would really lift the spirits, I think, of these girls. So the game gone really at 52-0.
I think a try would be well deserved as well.
A try would be, yes, I agree. It's going to come out wide here, but Leeds' slide defence is brilliant at stopping Lisa Taylor there. Just making sure she's not going anywhere further here. And now it's Cody Tiziman, who just bobs the ball down, and the play's going to get turned over again in favour of the Rhinos.
Looking a little bit disjointed now, we are Wakefield, and, but it's been a very tough second half for us, and I think that we just need to really kind of stay switched on and not have these lapses in concentration. But I think that you know, Leeds, in all honesty, have looked throughout this game, you know, they really displayed why they are strong contenders for a lot of silverware. They've really flexed their Super League muscles. They
have indeed, and it's what we almost expect from the Rhinos. You know, the heritage at the club. It's the least I think we could expect at the moment from such a successful team. But as I say, we're not going to take anything away from Wakefield at the moment, because the way they have played, despite the scoreline, has been really commendable.
It's been outstanding, you know, and they should be very proud. Every player should leave this pitch, you know, with their head held high. I'm very, very proud of the performance that they've put in.
As it looks to be a bit of a consolation try here for Shannon Lacey, getting herself on the score sheet for the Rhinos. It's going to take us up to 56-0. Not really going the way that really just adds to the woes of Wakefield at the moment. Not really, just off the back of that knock on. Good play out right and a good short pass, and then nothing the defenders could do there. She was going for the try line and was determined to make her way there, wasn't she?
And this is the thing with Leeds all afternoon. They've really, you know, those opportunities they've taken them, and I think that, you know, that the scoreline really reflects that, you know. But again, take nothing away from Leeds. It's been a very clinical, you know, polished performance from them. Like you say, we would have expected, you know. But again, you know, Wakefield Trinity should be very, very proud of this, and, you know, go into the next game, you know, feeling very positive and you know, looking to enter the Super League with a lot of ambition of the fact that they can actually compete. And although the scoreline is quite heavy and one-sided, you know, I think that the performance is at times, you know, really been there.
Well, they've got Widnes next week, so looking to bounce back, make it 5 from 5 in the league. That's, you see, that's something that you've got to pride yourself on at the moment. There might be the score they are down at the moment, 56-0, but we're Widnes next week at Bellevue, so do come along if you want to watch these women make it 5 out of 5. Top of the 2 p.m. kickoff. I'm just being told by Jamie. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I really hope that the Wakefield Trinity supporters will get behind these women and come down and support it. And, you know, the women's side is such a credit to the club, and, you know, I think that we really want to see the attendances are growing, and it's great to see this today. And we just hope that the Wakefield supporters really get behind their team and really embrace them and take them into as part of the club, because it's one badge at the end of the day. And, you know, as you've seen here, there's, you know, the physicality in how they commit to tackles and so forth is no different. And I think that, you know, come down and enjoy a bit of rugby league that you won't be disappointed at, because I think today has been a massive advertisement for the women's game.
So with only 5 minutes left, Dan, I echo everything that Joe said as well. Please do come down and support your local women at Bellevue next week. It's gonna be a real competition, even though today might not have been an that's really solid hit there.
Brilliant. From Cody
Tissiman on Rhiannon Marshall. No
really
love lost there, was there?
Yeah, really made her feel it. And that's one of Cody's real strengths and why she's such an asset to this squad.
As Marshall takes it in again. Not going to be caught one-on-one this time. But there's 3 defenders there to make sure she's going no further. Forsell back on the field. Gives it off to Amy Staveley. Just balling away forward. So really not long left in this game for the Rhinos. A little cut back inside there from Courtney Hill. Getting him up to Wakefield's 40-metre line on the 5th tackle. Forsell looks to get a bit of a chip and chase, but he's going to bounce behind here, and it's left to bounce for Jessica Matthews. And it's going to be a dropout. Not really the outcome that we should have had there. Really, it should have been a ball back up the other end of the field, really, shouldn't it? Looking at that, really. Yeah,
it's one of those days at the minute where I think that a few decisions have kind of been a little bit difficult. I think the referees had a really good game.
Yes.
But I'm hoping now that... How long's left to go, Jamie? 4 minutes. I'm really hoping that from this now...
We get a try.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be as such the icing on the cake, but it would be...
I think it's
a good sweetener, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be a good consolation. I think it's what they deserve as well. I mean, their work ethic throughout this game has been huge.
It has indeed. And Danielle Anderson leading the way for the Rhinos at the moment. They're just 5 or so metres out from that try line. As it's Staveley again, cuts inside of one, looks to reach out. And she's still a couple of metres short. Not going to get any further. Forsell onto the 13, which is Shannon Lacey. Comes out wide. Marshall cutting inside here is Amy Johnson, excuse me. Again, meters out here from the Wakefield line here. Forsell looks to go from dummy half, but it's good tackling there on the goal line.
Well held up there
by Wakefield. Charlotte Booth looks to kick and chase, and they're going to reclaim here, Wakefield. They're going to get a bit of, maybe the last little bit of play here. Not long to go, according to our clock.
You know, one thing you look for as a coach when your players play these types of games is that when they walk off, you know they've left everything on this pitch, and that is precisely what Wakefield have done today. They couldn't give any more.
No, they couldn't.
You know, they've left everything on here, and huge credit to them. I'm so proud of these women that I can't even really begin to express it.
Oh, it's a tough tackle there on Claire Rayner. Did Wakefield just knock that ball on again? Such a reoccurring error in this game, as they've just tried to compete with the speed that Leeds have looked to play at, and have fallen victim to it, because you can get drawn in, can't you, by other teams and how they play, and looking to match them, as Wakefield have done there.
You can, and the intensity that Leeds have played at, you know, you're always going to struggle with that a little bit, and I think, like you say, we've tried to at times match that, and we've forced things a little bit, and you know, we just needed to settle things down a little bit, and not kind of get so tentative. We've looked tentative at times, you know, and rushed things a little bit, and subsequently, you know, we've ended up having, you know, the error, and I think the amount of errors that we've made today have, again, it really hurt us. But you know, it's all a learning process for these women, and again, I'm sure they'll take an awful lot, and I'm sure their coach Wayne Hurst will take an awful lot from today's performance.
He will do, as the final whistle is blown by Neil Pascal. It's been a thorough performance from the Leeds Rhinos. A 58-0 win here at Wheatwood Park. Wakefield started the game looking really well, but just fell, as we've just said, just fell victim to the way that the Rhinos play and how well that they've played. So Joe, we'll have your man of the match from today's game. Who do you feel?
I mean, there's been a few contenders there for man of the match. I think Charlotte Booth for Leeds was a really good player. She looked so dynamic. Lois Forsell as another contender. You know, but for me today, the player that really stood out for me was Amy Brinkley of Wakefield. And I'm not saying that just because I'm biased towards Wakefield, obviously, but I'm saying it because, you know, she's a 16-year-old girl, and you know, how she played today, she was instrumental in key in everything that Wakefield did. She had an outstanding defensive performance, you know, so for me, she's our player of the match.
I'd definitely agree with that. She definitely didn't look out of place, did she, among the say England among the international players. So a couple of the Leeds tries, Charlotte Booth scoring, Susie Hill getting 2, Caitlin Beavers getting an impressive 80-metre try, Courtney Hill getting one as well, Lois Forsell. The list goes on. There's been that many scorers today, and the last one, Amy Johnson. So it's been a thorough performance from the Rhinos as they look to progress through to the quarter-finals. But for those that are watching, for those that want to come down next week to Wakefield, as I say, Widnes at Bellevue, kickoffs 2 o'clock. Not 100% sure who the Rhinos are playing next week, but we'll be definitely keeping you up to date with all that information. So thank you to Joe for your analysis today. It's been brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you to Jamie for the camera work. It's awesome as always. And although Wakefield have lost today, they're looking to make it 5 out of 5 next week at Widnes. At Bellevue against Widnes. So do